no part of it. So at the end, it just, like you said, just culturally, everything, it just didn't work. Yeah, it just didn't work.
Well, we alluded to Milt Wagner, who has joined the fold at Louisville, a long time coming there. And I am so fascinated by this recruitment because, folks, if you are not familiar with what's going on between Louisville and Kentucky over the next year, it's everything you want in a college basketball story where Louisville hires Kenny Payne, a longtime Cal guy. You bring in Milt Wagner. That's one of his first big
Yeah.
things for a role that I'm not certain what exists. Is this a new role? Is this a new position? Because I read it and I was like, this sounds made up. I don't think this existed before. This is not an open position at
A
Louisville.
little bit of a babysitter, Yeah, it's kind of player relations. I will say he is moving into a role that former card Reese Gaines was in. Now Reese is a little more of video guy.
Yeah.
Role a lot has to do with keeping alumni happy. Really, keeping former players happy, making sure they know that they're welcome, different things like that.
There you go. Well, it's interesting because DJ Wagner, because we're all getting old and time comes for us all, is DeJuan Wagner now is a son who is the number one prospect for this upcoming class. And obviously his father played for Cal at Memphis, so he's really cool with Cal.
Yes.
And then Louisville, and you have Milt, who's obviously now working at Louisville, is his grandfather. So this young man is going to have to pick between his father or his grandfather. And his dad has said, DeJuan has said that like he's not involved. It's his son. Like DJ can do whatever he wants to do, so he's not going to push him. But he's like, I'm also not going to lie. Like I'm close to Cal, and I'm sure DJ knows Cal really well. He knows Kenny probably really well too. Like, how do you see this playing out over the next year? Like, is this going to be like a really heated battle? Is this something that like it could get a little testy between Kenny and Cal because like they're going after the same dude and he's a program changer? Like this is a program changer kind of guy. Where are they at with both of those guys?
Well, I don't think it'll play out over the year. I think it'll be probably this summer.
Oh, you think it's done this summer?
What will happen this summer with him? That's
interesting.
That's kind of again. Now that's not like a fact. That's just kind of the buzz around that recruitment is like
he wants to get it done.
I don't think he'll string either one of them along. You know, because he's going to one of the two schools. Everybody knows. Unless he decided to go play in the G League, which could be goes to college. He's going to do that. You're right. It is so fascinating in the rivalry too. Because obviously Kentucky fans were like, it was a no-brainer. DJ Wagner, Kentucky, that you didn't care. Well, then the Kenny Payne thing happens. Immediately the Milt Wagner rumor starts. Then Milt Wagner's not named to the three. So now you have a celebration on the Kentucky side. They're not hiring Milt all of a sudden. Then Milt's name to the staff. Then the EYBL just happened up in Louisville. You had an event up here, and there was a couple games. One of them, DJ Wagner and his team played Bronny James and his team. There ended up being like 4,000 or 5,000 people that were there.
Yeah.
It was just.
Is Bronny on Louisville's radar?
No. I've never heard his name for him. Yeah, no, I don't.
He popped up on Tennessee's, and I was like, man, I don't like what those games would be like. Bronny James and TBA that would be an experience like no other. Like LeBron just courtside for Tennessee basketball games would just be a lot to take in. Like that's a lot to just wrap your head around.
It would be incredible. Yeah, no, I haven't heard his name, but DJ has a couple teammates too.
Yeah,
that Louisville's looking at. So it's then there was a rumor that, hey, there's a world that Cal hires DeJuan. And then that kind of faded. So to your point, man, it's like weekly. It's the conversation. Like, it's anywhere you go. And to an extent, it is giving Kenny Payne a pass. And I know we'll get to this season, but giving Kenny Payne a pass to this season too, because everybody's like, hey, you get DJ Wagner. We're worried about, and I mean, Louisville don't even know if they're going to be able to play in the tournament this season. That's something we're waiting to hear. But yeah, it's something that's kind of ignited the rivalry again. Now, when Cal, even little things like when Cal offered Robert Dillingham, and there was kind of some rumor that Dillingham was going to pick Kentucky, you know, Louisville fans were like, that's Cal bowing out. You know, you're scared of the DJ Wagner thing. You don't want you don't want to end this battle anymore. But I do think it's going to be one that, like you said, it's going to be fascinating to watch. But it's one I don't think is going to go extremely long. Yeah, I think sooner than later, Wagner will make a pick. There's a pretty strong growing consensus that that pick will be Louisville now.
Interesting.
Which
is it NIL related?
Not really. Not really. Now he will make a ton of NIL once he gets.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. What is where is Louisville at with NIL? Are they hit the ground running? You have a strong collective. What's the situation there?
They've done very well, especially on the football side.
Okay.
Coach Satterfield right now is Louisville sitting at number 6, which you know, I mean, will fluctuate as other, you know, as the SEC eats and some of the other schools get what they get. But it's going to probably finish in the top 15, top 20. You know, one of the highest Louisville's ever gotten. On the Louisville just started a collective. I think it was just announced actually last week that's going to be going. But you have a lot of big money guys here in the city, and Louisville, again, much like Knoxville, it's the show. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's the show here. You don't have other things to put it in. There's no NBA teams. There's no, you know, I mean, the closest thing you got is the Bats, you know, the red AAA team, you know. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of money funnels into that program, and they've done, I mean, Louisville center Sidney Curry. I mean, he has a brand new 2022 Jeep, you know. They've got deals with Planet Fitness. It's been rumored that Malik Cunningham, the quarterback, is making, upwards towards a couple, I think $300,000-$400,000, you know, in NIL. So there's it seems to be going well. They just haven't really been loud about it. Yeah. And then Kenny Payne steps in, and Kenny Payne has been very adamant in the transfer portal with, I like NIL, but if NIL is your first question, I'm not gonna, you know,
a lot of coaches are like that.
Yes. Yeah. Which is odd because that's kind of what, I mean, to be honest, Louisville fans were kind of like, this is why we, you know, this killed us for years in Kentucky because we would shout, we're like, wait a minute, something's going on over there. Like, I mean, are we not? And now it's like, you're kind of not that. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the Jimbo Nick Saban thing where it's like, no, Jimbo, Nick's complimenting you. That was like a whole misunderstanding that should never have happened, where Nick's saying we have to adapt because they are ahead of us now, and they are going to beat us in recruiting because they are ahead of us. It was not a shot. It was like, they're coming and they're ahead. So here's what we have to do to get ahead. There's a reason he said that, not in front of the media, but in front of a bunch of business leaders in Alabama. That is what that was. That's the dumbest argument from this summer. Oh my God.
Listen, no, 100%. And like I told you, the guy I do the show with from Clarksville, son Jalen, and we're big SEC football guys. We love some SEC football. There's always the joke up here for years. It's like, hey, we love SEC football. We're like, not what Kentucky and Vandy play. We love SEC football, you know, of course. Yeah. So we kind of always made that, but it's yeah, I mean, and this is kind of that type of war, you know, up here. Like, hey, they're getting guys. We've lost a lot of games over the years to Kentucky where it was like, you know, we might be just as good of a team, but they just got the one dude have, you know, and now you want that to change, and kind of bringing it all the way back around. DJ Wagner would kind of be the first shot that feel like, hey, we finally got him. Like, we finally got one over on Cal. Like, no, this is our guy now. You know, now we're going to come in and we're going to take guys that you want, as opposed to it being the other way around. So you're right. Fascinating's the word, man. I mean, I don't know how long it'll go, but while it's going, if you say his name up here, the conversation stops and it goes to that.